Newly unsealed court filings reveal the FBI found classified material in John Bolton's Washington office. The inventory shows documents tied to U.S. diplomatic communications, federal strategy, and even weapons of mass destruction. I'll tell you what they uncovered and where this case may go from here. Plus, we'll ask the question, is there anyone in Washington, D.C. not storing classified documents at their home or office? We're starting with new details on a story that we've been tracking. The FBI raids on the home and office of former National Security Advisor John Bolton. Remember him? We've learned more about what agents say they found. According to court filings unsealed yesterday, FBI agents found materials marked with secret classifications during an August 22nd search of John Bolton's downtown Washington, D.C. office. The inventory shows agents pulled documents referencing weapons of mass destruction, U.S. diplomatic communications at the UN, and federal strategic communications. Now, to understand what's going on here, or the severity of it, it's good to know a bit about how the U.S. classification system works. At its core, it's a tiered system that ranks sensitive government material by the level of harm that its disclosure could cause to national security. Documents that are classified secret sit right in the middle of the hierarchy. It's below top secret, but it still means disclosure could cause serious damage to national security. Confidential, while the lowest rung, still applies to material the government says could cause damage if released. That same morning, agents also searched Bolton's home in Bethesda, Maryland. There, the inventory didn't list any classified markings, but the Bureau did seize multiple computers and electronic devices, and those are now going through forensic review. The warrant applications made clear what agents were hunting for, evidence tied to 3 felony offenses, including the unauthorized retention of national defense information under the Espionage Act. That's the same law used in the Justice Department's case against Donald Trump over his Mar-a-Lago documents. It's also the same law considered during the probe into Joe Biden's documents at his Delaware home. Remember those boxes of documents stacked near his Corvette? Though that case was dropped by special counsel Robert Hur earlier this year. Bolton, of course, is no stranger to accusations about handling classified information. Back in 2020, the Trump administration tried to stop the release of his memoir called The Room Where It Happened, arguing that it contains sensitive material. A federal judge even suggested at the time that Bolton might have committed a crime, but the Biden Justice Department shut that case down in 2021. Until now, it seemed like Bolton had avoided serious legal exposure. So, you ask yourself, why the renewed scrutiny? According to these filings, investigators also uncovered evidence that Bolton's AOL email account, had been compromised by a foreign entity. Frankly, uncovering evidence that Bolton is still using an AOL account is damning enough. Details are heavily redacted, but reports suggest that U.S. officials may have obtained intelligence showing that Bolton sent sensitive information to close associates through unclassified systems that were already in the hands of hostile foreign services. Now, it's worth noting that none of this means Bolton will be charged. It is Washington, D.C., after all, ground zero for zero consequences. The filings don't say how many pages were marked classified or whether prosecutors can prove intent or reckless transmission. But it does show that this investigation is very much alive, and that Bolton could face some of the same legal risks that both President Trump and former President Biden have already confronted. The optics here are complicated, too. Bolton was one of Trump's harshest critics, still is, when the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago. He accused the former president of not caring about classification rules. What? Today he finds himself under investigation for the same statute. What are they all saying? What goes around comes around? Are you going to get bit in the ass? What? I'm not sure. There's an old saying about that. And because the same magistrate judge is involved, expect questions about whether politics is playing any role in the process. Who could imagine that politics would play a role in any process in Washington, D.C.? Though so far the filings do show a pretty standard counterintelligence and Espionage Act review. We'll keep following the case as more filings are unsealed and as investigators make decisions about potential charges. All right, coming up next, the latest on that mass shooting at an ICE facility in Dallas, Texas. I'll be right back. Hey, Mike Baker here. You know those nights when you just don't sleep? You know what I mean. You're tossing and turning, maybe your mind's racing, sleep just won't come. And of course, the next day, Well, you're dragging, you're exhausted, and everything just feels harder. Well, that's where CBD from CB Distillery can make a real difference. But it's not just sleep products. CB Distillery has solutions that work with your body to help with stress, with pain after exercise, even mood and focus. And it's all made with the highest quality, clean ingredients. No fillers, just premium CBD. Imagine waking up rested or enjoying your day without those nagging aches and pains. That's the real win of CB Distillery's solutions. And that's why over 2 million people, that's right, 2 million people trust CB Distillery. Look, I use their Relief Balm for after workouts. Of course, at my age, every workout involves some pain, and the Relief Balm from CB Distillery really works. So if you're ready for better sleep, less stress, and just generally feeling all around better, try CBD from CB Distillery. And right now, listen to this, you can save 25% off your entire purchase. Visit CB Distillery and use the promo code PDB. That's cbdistillery.com, promo code PDB. Again, cbdistillery.com. Specific product availability depends on individual state regulations. Welcome back to the Afternoon Bulletin. A sniper perched on a rooftop across from an ICE field office in Dallas, Texas, opened fire on a detainee transport van before turning the rifle on himself, leaving one detainee dead and 2 seriously wounded. The shooter has been identified as 29-year-old Joshua John. He began firing just after 6:30 a.m. local time on Wednesday. FBI sources told Fox 4 Dallas he used a high-powered rifle to target the unmarked van ferrying detainees. Information available in public records indicates that John has ties to North Texas and Oklahoma. A motive has not been confirmed, although police report that the words anti-ICE were scrawled on an unspent round found next to the now-deceased sniper. As agents closed in on the shooter's rooftop location, he turned the rifle on himself. Local police confirmed that no ICE agents were injured in the attack. Now, the identification of the deceased detainee has been withheld at this time, as have the wounded detainees, and they're currently in a nearby hospital. The Dallas police chief said early evidence points to ideology. As mentioned, unspent rounds recovered at the scene were inscribed with the message anti-ICE. As for any other details to the shooter's motive, that for now remains a mystery as the investigation is ongoing. It does make you wonder, though, when did it become a thing for psychos to scrawl messages on bullet casings? The head of the FBI's Dallas field office called the shooting a, quote, targeted incident, while FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino took to X to confirm that federal agents are now leading the probe. The attack zeroed in on a facility that, frankly, is hardly imposing. The Dallas ICE office has just a handful of holding cells, space enough to process a couple dozen detainees before they move to larger detention centers. A former ICE official told local media the facility's detention capacity can swing from a handful up to about 100, with most held for an average of just 14 hours. The politics followed fast, of course. At a news conference, Texas Senator Ted Cruz called the shooting yet another case of, quote, politically motivated violence, and pointed to the killing of Charlie Kirk as proof that the problem is spiraling. Vice President J.D. Vance went further, posting on X, tying the Dallas sniper attack to what he called a broader campaign of violence aimed squarely at immigration enforcement. ICE and Border Patrol, he warned, now face mounting risks as they execute President Trump's mass deportation initiative. And that pattern is becoming harder to ignore. This is the third major attack on immigration enforcement in Texas this year alone. In late August, for example, a 36-year-old man walked into the very same Dallas ICE office claiming to have a bomb in his backpack, triggering a lockdown until his arrest. And a month earlier, in another case, a 27-year-old in tactical gear opened fire on a Border Patrol facility in McAllen, Texas, wounding 2 officers and an employee before police shot him dead. And that, my friends, is the PDB Afternoon Bulletin for Thursday, the 25th of September. Now, if you have any questions or comments, please reach out to me at pdb@thefirsttv.com. And, of course, to listen to the show ad-free, just become a premium member of the President's Daily Brief by visiting pdbpremium.com. I'm Mike Baker, and I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, stay informed, stay safe, stay cool. Hey, Mike Baker here. I want to take just a moment of your time to talk about my very favorite purveyor of steaks and beef, and that would be the great Tri-Tails beef. Now, as I'm sure you're aware, it is back-to-school season. Of course, that means the usual chaos around the house, constant shuttling of kids to school and sports events, and regular disagreements over what's for dinner when parents and kids are all running in different directions. Well, the terrific folks at Tri-Tails Beef, they know that feeling. They're a fifth-generation, family-run Texas ranch that understands that feeding a family during busy times is no small feat. So this month, they're making it easier. When you grab their Feed the Family box, you'll get 2 pounds of premium ground beef. That's free. That's tacos, burgers, spaghetti, meatballs, whatever the gang demands. It's real beef, pasture-raised, grain-finished, dry-aged. There's no fillers, there's no mystery meat, there's no middlemen, there's no microwavable shapes for dinner. So if you're ready to reclaim dinner from the jaws of school year chaos, head over to trybeef.com/PDB. That's trybeef.com/PDB. Because remember, frozen nuggets aren't a food group. And your family, well, they deserve the best.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and leave a comment, a really positive, nice, and kind comment. That would be appreciated. And if you're not already subscribed to our channel, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our daily updates.